This is Infection, the H1Z1 podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, May 26th, 2015, episode 19. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Infection, the H1Z1 podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on H1Z1. We bring you the latest news, changelogs, developments, and strategies and speculations each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. At Gamecast Live is my Twitter. InfectionPodcast.com is the website. Joining me, Brian Aldridge. What's going on, Brian?
Not too much. I'm always surprised you're able to get that opener and adjust the levels on the mixer at the same time. That's like a...
It's not easy.
That is a talent.
Like, I'm sitting over here with like I've got like a hand on the mixer, a hand on the keyboard, so I can switch the scenes. I know.
I was watching that. You were switching scenes, you're adjusting the levels, and you're reading the intro at the same time.
I got screwed up because developments and strategies on the next line, and I lost my positioning. This
change logs. Development. It's all about timing, right?
It's all about timing. I got to click the start on the sound, but. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Infection, the H1Z1 podcast.
If only you could just have like a little camera that shows Nick's hands moving during the show.
Let me just add that. If the
that'll be another thing you have to control.
It's a PTZ, so I'm gonna have to pan the camera while I'm doing the show.
If you could have it to where it slides in.
Yeah, it's a jib. I have to hire somebody to sit here and use the jib on it. So this is Brian with a
today we're at R. This is Brian with an R.
Brian with an R Aldridge.
Yeah,
at Boise Computer on Twitter. What's going on, Brian?
Yeah, at Boise Computer on Twitter. If you want to find my blog that has every contact for me, you go to biteoftech.com, and that is with an I, of course. Or if you want to go to google.com/plus Brian Aldridge, and I'm sure you can figure out how that's spelled as well.
Brian B. Aldridge. I gotta start this off. There was a funny comment on YouTube, and somebody said something like, I agree with Brian, and like the I was in like parentheses or something.
Brian with the I in parentheses.
Just to drive home the point that it's Brian with an I, Aldridge. But this is Infection, the H1Z1 podcast. If you're listening for the first time, you're probably wondering what the hell's going on here.
All the inside jokes are just over their heads.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the podcast that we talk about H1Z1 each and every week, covering the latest on the game. A few new things, Brian. Tuesday is going to be the new patch schedule day. We are patiently waiting for a patch. It is Tuesday the 26th. It's 7:10 p.m. as we're recording this. Still no patch.
Well, and I mean, they do have somewhat of an excuse this week because there was a holiday Monday.
Yeah.
And that's what they said. They said it'll be later today. I'm guessing probably in the next hour.
Right as we finish up the show.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah, exactly.
Our goal is an hour.
No. This is what happens.
So halfway through the show,
we finish the show. I get done. Right, I'm uploading the stuff. I refresh Reddit, and it's like 3 new posts, and they're all just like change logs. I'm like, damn it! Like this is all useful content.
Huge news that would have been great. That's a surprise in the change logs.
Yeah. Speaking of surprises, we just had a server wipe this week. We have a bet last week or the week before. We're like, oh no, I don't think it's going to be for at least another 2 weeks, and they were just like, bam, here
last
we go.
Week we were saying it was like a week out, and they did it that Thursday or whatever. And I don't think anybody's. Well, I was expecting when I heard Thursday, the test servers would be Thursday, then the regular servers would be this Tuesday.
Yeah,
because we knew that some changes were coming. Supposedly there was going to be new building materials or objects for building, new decorations for building, some things that might actually make a difference to where you'd want to start over on your base. And they did the wipe later. They did it earlier, and they didn't do it later for the Tuesday when there's actually supposedly a patch coming. Supposedly, because it's not here yet. So that's one thing I was kind of surprised is that they did both of them at the same time. And I don't know if it's because they maybe knew that they weren't going to have the building stuff in time.
I guess.
Maybe that was just like, oh, we might not have it, so let's just do both of them. And they just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, now the other big issue that at least we had is we normally plan our stuff out. So we'll be like, all right, this is where we're going to build our base when the server wipe happens. This is the server we're going to go to. And it was just like, running into a brick wall. They're like, hey, here's a server wipe. And we hadn't
discussed
anything. So we had members playing on other servers. They're like, oh no, I thought we were over here. What's going on? So it was a total disaster. I like at least a few days prep, because then it's like, all right, we can decide where our base is going to be.
In time.
Exactly. We can tell our members, because we've got members that don't play every day. They work day jobs. They have families, so they don't have time to sit in front of the computer and play every day.
Yeah.
So they come in from time to time, and they're not aware what server we're on, and it's just kind of hectic. But the 21st, I think they're finally done with doing stuff to the live servers on Thursdays. Last Thursday was the last Thursday I think they're going to be messing with the live servers. They're just trying to get into the new groove of test servers Thursday, live servers Tuesday, and I think last Thursday, the 21st, was the last time that they're, unless there's a huge problem, that they're going to mess with the live servers on a Thursday.
Yep. So that should make it to where we were hoping last week that they said, okay, the Tuesday patch would be now, and that we would be able to actually see the Tuesday patch working. And so hopefully once they get past this holiday thing and get into the groove, as you said, we'll get to the point where we actually have a Tuesday morning patch, and we mean morning by 2 a.m. our time, or Pacific.
Yeah, because from what when Brian and I were talking a little bit earlier today, we're taking away that these Tuesday patches are going to be done during regular business hours. Somewhere between
and that's what it supposedly today
was supposed
now
to be.
It's going to be
after
during
hours.
the show,
Yeah.
but it seems like it's later. I just don't know if next Tuesday we're going to expect it at 5-6 o'clock Pacific, or if it's going to be 2 a.m.
I mean, that's what makes sense, because then those people are there all Monday night and not Tuesday. So I have a feeling that they're gonna stick with the business hour days. I think that works better for them.
Those live patches, the regular server patches, should be fairly well tested out on the test servers.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be any major
and that's why
major problems.
And that's why an hour during the business day shouldn't be a big deal for them, right? This should just be a seamless. All right, all the stuff is already tested. Let's just aggregate it out to all the test servers, and then everything should be good. And an hour or two later, all the live servers should be back up. But currently, if they put out the patch now, these patches normally take 2.5 hours. They're going to be running past their business day. So now that they're already running past the business day, they may just wait till tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, but 2 or 3 a.m. tomorrow morning to do that patch, because they're already, I guess, going to be running past their business hours, the times that they work in during the day. So this 21st thing was a 5:30 a.m. patch, their typical early morning patch, and it lasted for 2 hours, and it was a full player and server wipe like we talked about. And one of the things that they threw in with this patch was that the roadmap was now updated to include the new dates. The roadmaps, they said they were going to move everything to Tuesdays, but the roadmaps were still reflecting dates that were Thursdays. So that's all up to date now, and the dates are now reflecting the new publishes. And then they say that the pre-patch live streams are going to be back again. Not last Monday.
Not this week.
Or yesterday. It wasn't yesterday because it was Memorial Day. It's a national holiday.
So maybe next Monday we can see one of those.
They just picked the worst time to start this. Hey, post live stream patches are back.
And then they can't start it.
They stopped the first episode.
So now in this one they did, and this is something I didn't really run into, but dropped doors no longer stack. So I guess if people were dropping doors out of their inventory, they were stacking rather than them being individual.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't normally have stacks of doors.
Yeah, so that was one thing that they fixed, kind of a small little bug. But one big thing that they did change, and this is something that was a big frustration for a lot of people, is you couldn't repair the recurve bows before, and then you couldn't repair crossbows. And so these recurve bows and crossbows you would use them until they got damaged and either let them fully break, or you could go and just try to stick it away for a rainy day or something, but they would never repair. So now you can actually use your repair kits. One thing I have noticed is there's a lot less repair kits in the world, and I don't think it's because of this. I think they're just lowering the spawn rate of repair kits, which is going to make it a lot more difficult. It's much more difficult to be able to hold on to a recurve bow and to one of these crossbows. Right now, there's a lot of crossbows in the world. So
now, the one thing with the crossbows that I've noticed compared to other weapons that they've added to the game, Brian, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but it seems like every time I find a crossbow, it's very, very low durability. I've yet to find a crossbow that's, let's say, above 500 durability. Everything is this 260 to 350-ish range. So everything,
they're giving
instantly,
you these now at a hit, damaged rate. They're damaged when you get them.
But what this might be is right now, since the crossbow is new to the game, there's such a vast amount of them in the game that once they tone it down, like the same thing they did with the recurve bow, you'll see less crossbows, but they'll be higher durability, up in the
plus they'll also get to be able to test more of people using the repair kits on. I mean, they want to test that people are actually doing this. So I guess if they give you damage, you're more likely to use a repair kit on it.
Exactly. So right now there's an abundance of crossbows in the game. You'll go to those camper spawns on the side of the road, and there'll literally be 3 crossbows on one table. So.
Another thing they had is the biofuel and ethanol exploding and despawning work. So this is something that's been a long, ongoing bug. They had it to where when people would raid a base and they would explode either biofuel or ethanol, there would be what we called ghost biofuel sitting there at that door. So you could go and look in your perimeter view
and see it,
and actually see different biofuels. So if you were at a base that was raided, people would look and they say, hey, why, I see that there's biofuel around me. Where is it? Why can't I find it and pick it up? And that was this ghost biofuel. Now, a big bug that they had was, I guess, as they were probably trying to fix this before, they made it so that that biofuel would explode. And this was like the day before the wipe, 2 days before the wipe. People were able to go and place one biofuel at a door or a place where this ghost biofuel was, and it would explode all the biofuel, the ghost biofuel and the real biofuel.
So you would get you'd place one biofuel. Monster explosion of biofuel in game. That's fun.
Yeah. So now they have it to where if you explode a biofuel, it actually disappears.
Yeah.
It's not going to be sitting there in the perimeter. And I would assume this would help a little bit with lag. It's going to be a little bit less lag because of
even though that object is blown up on your screen, the object is still there. It's ghost.
So if you stack 100 biofuel, there's 100
loaded.
Not much many more items it has to update about.
It's 100 loaded objects in the game, all in one. And in the case where you're raiding a base, all in one confined area, like all on the entrance of a deck foundation or something like that. So that would explain why you were getting 3 frames a second when you were blowing up biofuel.
Well, that was something they fixed, and I don't think that was in this one, but
no,
that was more of the flame effects. Like the super lag that you were getting was more of the flame effect.
You don't think that helped though, not having all those?
Well, I mean, it was a little bit to it, but it was more of after the explosion was done. If you're notice a little bit more lag, latency, or maybe most people won't notice on their internet, because there'd be a small number. But if someone had a slower internet connection, it would make a difference.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
So it's just, you'd have to have a lot of them. But when you're coming into an area, like let's say you're coming up to that area, and it's just coming into your area where your character is able to know that they're there.
Yeah.
You'll have to download that much more data saying there's all these objects around you. Mm-hmm. So that's when you're going to notice that lag.
Now, another thing that they fixed in this patch, Brian, was they just say they fixed a bug where placing items would crash your game. They don't say specifically what items they were, but I guess
think it was more like the building materials. I would notice it in, let's say I was trying to place something on a deck foundation, and you would move it around to place it.
You would crash.
Randomly, I would crash out.
Yeah, so they don't say specifically what objects they fixed, but obviously there were a few objects that were consistently crashing people when they were getting placed, and they've updated that as well. The next thing is something that's really interesting. The keys are no longer sellable or tradable on the marketplace. The reason for this is because the keys were selling for like 12 cents a piece, and Daybreak charges, $5 for the keys or something like that? Or $2.50?
$2.50 for the keys.
$2.50 for the keys?
$5 for the airdrops.
So what Daybreak's trying to make $2.50 on a key
on something that's going for 17 cents.
For 17 cents in the marketplace, they put a squish on that. That's not going to be happening anymore.
And this is something that's still happening with, if you look at the airdrops.
Yeah,
those things are going for cheap on the marketplace.
Well, the thing is, where are these people? Where are they getting all these? I mean, these are just people that are really good at BR, just putting a crap ton of money into the game. Because I don't know where they're getting these.
Also,
airdrops
I
from.
don't know if it has to do with after a wipe, people get their original ones back. So I guess the time would be to sit there and build them up right after a wipe. All these people get these airdrops they're not going to use, and they put them up for sale. Build them up right now, because after time goes by, and the number of them out there will start to dwindle, the price is probably going to go up.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've never used I've never called in a personal airdrop. We've called in airdrops as groups, but I've never called in one of mine. So they're returning.
I hoard airdrops. I've never called in one of mine. A lot of people
we have no need to. We've got so
many
members in our clan that call them in. It's just like whatever. I just keep mine on me.
And because I have 8, and how many came with the original regular
was it
one? Was
5
it 2
or
or
2?
3?
Maybe it was 2 then, 2 or 3.
I'm trying to remember. I thought premium was more like 3 or 5. I think I got 2, and so all the other ones I've got either from BR or who knows. I think it's pretty much BR.
Yeah.
And so I hold on to those, and I know that if I use them, I won't get them back on next wipe. So I keep holding on to them.
One day for a rainy. Brian's holding on to them for a rainy
I keep
day.
waiting for a beta or something.
Something where you're not going to lose it all right after you get
That
it.
it's not going to be gone in a month.
Yeah.
Not that where you get, or if they're going to release that something really cool comes out of airdrops. Because right now, what's wonderful that comes out of an airdrop? We've been getting a lot of party. What is it? Party animal or?
I think it's Party Animal. Demolition or Demo Man is the big one we get.
We got a couple of those party ones in a row this last time.
Yeah.
So you get, I think it's like 15 Swizzler or something each, a whole stack of flares. It's just moonshine. It's like, what in the world do we need all this for? And so Ferment takes them and spells things out on the ground with the flares.
like
I mean, that's all
infected.
that we use these things for.
Yeah. But and that's a big problem, especially when they're charging for these airdrops. I mean, I know they're not trying to go pay to win, but I've said it time and time again. Just because you call it an airdrop doesn't mean you get an airdrop. Case in point, like me and like 3 or 4 other people raided an airdrop the other day, and we had like one guy with a gun, and there was just a bunch of fresh spawns. We just killed all of them and took the airdrop. I mean, it wasn't pay to win. It wasn't a great airdrop. It was just the Demo Man with some brackets and some nails and whatever else was what's in that airdrop. But I mean, make it so that there's good stuff spawning. There's no reason for you to be. Why would you waste your airdrops knowing that there's a pretty high probability you're going to get Swizzle, Flares, and Moonshine? It's just not worth it. At least at this point.
That's what they really need to do is make it. And I guess that is a good thing that it's not pay to win, but it's not worth it for me. They've got to make something worth it, and that's where the skins are going to be more worth it. I think they're kind of backing off on these airdrops.
You think we're backing off on
the idea that airdrops are going to be a large income source?
Really? Okay.
Because airdrops are just so. Right now, the people that are in clans like us, whatever we get out of an airdrop, we could easily get some other means.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean. I mean, would you get one gun in a backpack? That's normal.
Sometimes.
Yeah, well, like the best airdrop we could hope for would be a gun and a what is it? A tan military or a camo?
Tan military backpack.
And a tan military
so it's
backpack.
one of the bigger 2000 slot.
Which we already have. Like our base, we've already got like a bunch in the officer room in our base. So it's like, at that point, it's not anything great. Now, if you're a single player and you call that in, that's a great advantage for you. But for us, like you said, Brian, we can just kill somebody and they have that stuff on them.
Yeah. And so that's what they're going to have to do is figure out if they're going to continue doing airdrops, make it to where it's more of a special event. I've said this before. They could really make it to where airdrops are something that you can get skins out of, something you can get maybe a clan. If they're going to do decorations for these bases, have it be to where you can get skins for your base, skins that are just beyond what you could get inside of BR, or something beyond what you could get in a crate. Make it a special item, then people will pay $5 for it.
Yeah, and then they need to make sure that fine line of just because you call it an airdrop doesn't mean you've got some type of.
Yeah, if you look at what Ferment just posted in chat, that's what our airdrop. They're welcome $5.
Yeah,
there's $5 for you on the ground, spelled out in flares.
Yeah, there you go. And
so
yeah, that's what we do. I mean, what else are you going to do with them?
Yeah, and that's 2 airdrops. You get just tons of flares and a bunch of swizzle that doesn't do anything but increase your stamina now, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe I mean, is it possible that they phase out the airdrops?
I mean, they've got to make them to where there's something different. Make it to where it's a clan activity.
I guess, but at this point, I don't see what they're going to do to the airdrops, like now, that's going to make them useful again in game. I mean, right now they're completely useless. You're not even going to get, if you're a single player, you're not even going to get your airdrop, most likely, because a clan is going to come up and kill you and take it. So
well, and even if you're a clan, I mean, we run into the issue where then you have aimbot hackers that come in and just one-shot everybody.
There's a lot of times we'll say, hey, there's an airdrop. We're like, oh, well, I don't want to deal with an airdrop. We're all geared up. It's a death trap. We go in there and we just die.
Nisco says on that, who ate the C?
Oh,
he misspelled.
He misspelled for infected. Wonderful.
Yeah. Oh well. His excuse was, "This isn't my native language."
Sure. Okay.
So, whatever. I'd probably spell it wrong in Finnish.
Valid excuse.
But anyways, okay. So that's one thing, is they're not going to be selling those keys. One big thing that has fixed some major problems is that now names actually get deleted when you delete your character.
Bing, bing.
Yeah, you were running into a problem where you delete your character, you couldn't create a character with the same name. So you would have to add more characters to the end, change the spelling of your name, whatever.
And you know what that means, Brian? Now that works, the base claiming system works.
Now they actually make it so that you can claim a base.
Yes, which was a thing that they had introduced 2 wipes ago now, or 2 patches ago now, but it didn't work.
Yeah, and of course the base claiming system did work. It's just you could never delete your
The deletion
character.
system didn't work, so in turn the base.
So step 1 never led to step 2 because step 1 was broken. So they fixed step 1 now magically.
That's good.
Claiming a base works, and that's all fixed.
Yeah, which is a big deal. I mean, we've got to figure it out now where it's not going to really be a problem for our clan anymore, because now we've just got it set up that this person places the deck foundation, this person does this. So for us, it's not really a problem, but
Yeah.
for other people, I guess it still could be.
No, I was going to make a comment on all of those flares.
Yes, Brian.
The amount of lag that it created in base. So there still is. They need to really tune fire.
Candles
still.
too, not even just the flares. Candles.
Yeah, that's something we're going to have to figure out how to make it so that it doesn't slow you down. Because I've noticed that when you explode a bunch of the biofuel, the amount of lag there has gone down. Like you can still kind of move around. Like before, you would. Like if I tried to run upstairs after we blew down a door.
Oh God, yeah.
Almost impossible. I would run under the foundation. I would run to the side of the stairs. I couldn't get lined up. Now I can actually get to the stairs, kind of go up, slightly lag, maybe slow down a little bit as I go up. But that has become better. Now this, I noticed with all these flares that it did lag slightly inside the base. And so there's still something they've got to do, because that's not that many flares. I mean, if you were to stack 100 flares, that's not 100 flares. Imagine what you could make it so that someone could go around their base and even defend against you.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I guess they're working.
Control people by just circling their whole base with flares.
Just calling a bunch of
they run around on top.
Just calling a bunch of airdrops and just hope to God that you get the party pack.
Get as many flares as possible. So
yeah, exactly.
Start lighting them.
Yeah, but that was the 21st patch, and they fixed some problems with that. Brian, you want to talk a little bit about the server wiped, and we jumped servers.
Yeah, and we had very short amount of time, and we really enjoyed Bloodscorn. But the problem we were running into, we had a number of clans that joined us on Bloodscorn, and we would really like to have, if we had some more time, to go to these clans that joined us there and say, hey, we're going to a different server.
Yeah, why don't you join us?
But when you have one day, they don't even have time to talk to their clan members to arrange this.
Yeah.
And so we moved to another day. It's not quite like Abomination. Abomination is high pop because it's the first name in the list. If you log into the game and just click join, that's Abomination. That's the default one that's chosen. That's causes it to be very high population to where there's a long wait time no matter what. Another day is the second one, not in the list, but the second one down as far as time.
Yeah.
You may run down, or you may run into a couple minutes wait time, at least after the initial wipe when it's the highest populations. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of minute wait time, but I knew if we get past that first 2-day period, that would start to go down. And then we would have, maybe 10-second wait times when there are wait times, not 5-minute wait times. So we've done that, and we've waited past that amount of time. And we've actually had a lot of fun because we go different places, and we're almost guaranteed that we're going to have people to fight against.
Oh, it's not even guaranteed. I mean, it's indefinite. This server is always high pop, high pop. I was just checking they've got their little tracker where you can see the population of all the servers. I checked this morning just at like 10 o'clock Eastern. Server was high pop. So
yeah,
no matter where you go, if it's anywhere near anything, there will be people there indefinitely. There will be people there, and unless the server is down, there will be people there. I mean, the Misty Peak is littered with people. With people from that G5 spawn. There were literally like 20 or 30 people in that vicinity of those, what is it, 6 camp cabins that are there? I mean,
Death cabins?
Yeah, there's just an insane amount of people in that little area. Now, our area is a little isolated. We don't get as much traffic as I would have thought. I don't know if we want to go into our location. I don't want to go into our location too much, but there are areas around us that drive traffic.
And we have to go to those areas.
But we have to go to those areas. We don't really have a lot of like people passing through near our base where we can just snipe them from our base and say, all right, hey, let's go grab their loot. We've got to kind of go out and search for it a little bit.
Now, if you want to pull up that other picture, there's the candles, and those also lagged. So he actually spelled infected correctly this time in candles, but that also lagged the base quite a bit. So anything with fire. Now, as far as the new base, that is one thing that I've been trying to explain to the other clans that we run into, that we are a kill on sight clan, because we ran into too many times to where people would get mad when we shot them. They would say, hey, why'd you shoot me? I thought we were friends.
But you can't see names.
Well, first of all, that is one thing. You can't see names. But the other thing is, you know what? You are my friend, but I'm still going to shoot you. I'll talk to you afterwards when you're dead. Or if you shoot me, if you come up, like personally with me, you can come up and talk to me. If you're nice to me after you shoot me, I have no problem talking to you.
Yeah.
That's fine. There are some people in our clan that aren't quite so nice in that way. And we're trying to work through that.
No, but I mean, here's the problem. When you play with a large group of people, you have to be KOS, because if you're not KOS, you're going to get killed. So we have adopted, and it's not a hostile mentality towards anybody, but if you wait too long and give somebody else the shot, they're going to take the shot and kill you and steal your loot. I mean, it's simple as that. So we're proactive.
But I'm trying to encourage for our clan to be friendly. We are hostile. Right.
Yeah, we're hostile when it comes to PvP, but besides a few
I'm trying
members,
to get us to be more friendly in game.
Well, besides a few members,
okay, if you go kill somebody, don't go up and cuss them out. There's no reason to do that. First of all, unless they're sitting there cussing you out, and why not just ignore them? But I'm trying to get it to where afterwards you can go and then have a conversation with that person and start to build those friendships in game. Because I think that's a really important part about this, is not to hate everyone else, not to get that mentality of we're the best, you guys all suck. I think it needs to be you guys are doing the same thing we're doing. We want to kill you, you want to kill us. We want to have that whole rivalry going, but we need to be friendly with those people as well.
Yeah, so that's what
my personal take on how I think the game should be.
I mean, it's just running around and not being a total jerk to everybody in the game. For I'm going to use an appropriate word there, jerk.
Yeah. That is the difference. Yeah, I don't want any of us to be hesitating, and because that is one way that we probably die more than other people.
Oh, is by hesitating, of course.
Because we hesitate because there is such a large number of us we wait to make sure that person is one of us.
Well, we call jump check 4 times, and sometimes the person's not, like the person doesn't jump. We've got 15, 20 people in TeamSpeak, right? You call jump check. That's a way that we communicate with our group. You say jump check. If the person doesn't jump, you kill them. But maybe you call it 3 or 4 times just to make sure you don't kill a friendly member, and that maybe that 3rd or 4th time the enemy
because there are times when there are people that run either in no groups or smaller groups. They have no hesitation on shooting me, and that 1 second of me seeing if that is someone that's in my clan, just even that short amount of time gets me killed.
Yeah, so that's why we've adopted, and I think from day one it was
even like jump check is still like there's still somewhat a downside to that.
There is.
But that is a necessary.
Exactly.
That's a necessary thing. We have to do that.
But it's not. We're not KOSing you because we don't like you. We're KOSing you because you're
going to
kill us and steal our stuff. So it's simple as that. It's a
remember when the game
relationship.
First started, when you would have those people that sit there and talk to you, and they pretend like they're all nice, and then they'd shoot you.
Well,
randomly,
Brian, you were the guy for that. You would sit there and you team up with people and you talk to them, and then they turn on you. Yeah.
And then they'd shoot me out of the blue, and it's like, what in the world?
And I'd have to talk to Brian constantly. Like, Brian, you can't trust it. Like, he'd be like, oh, hey, teamed up with this guy in BR. I'm like, oh no, like just
my
wait.
Friend. Like we're bonding here.
Yep. And then the next thing you know, you're dead. So
now it's like I kind of come up with the mentality of I'll shoot you and then I'll talk to you for a little bit, and we're cool.
Brian will work it over.
If they come on to TeamSpeak, usually they're good. If they're unwilling to come on to TeamSpeak, like if I'm with them and I feel like, okay, this could be a good grouping. If they're unwilling to come on to TeamSpeak, all right, time to shoot them.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Even though I still don't shoot them, I'm still too much of a softie.
Of course. It's not even, Brian is very trusting of people from H1Z1, and you can't trust anybody that plays a PC
Nick
game
is
like
the
this.
opposite.
You cannot trust anybody that's playing a zombie survival game online. How can you trust anybody? I don't even trust half of our clan members, because it's like, hey, how'd Nick die? Who knows? Did somebody shoot him when he was running towards the base? I jumped. So who knows what happens there. But you that's just the mentality, and it's not hostile towards any group or any single person. It's just you gotta protect our group. So we kill and we kill first, ask questions later. It's simple as that.
And so for anyone, if you're listening, you want to join up with us, and we'll go over this a little bit towards the end of the show, but join us on another day. There's a lot of other clans on there. There's a lot of other players on there. Hopefully we'll get some of the clans that came to Bloodscorn, as the population starts to die down and they see that it's turning into kind of what we're seeing of there's only a couple other clans that are consistently on enough to fight against. And I think that I was feeling bad that we were going and killing those clans so much.
Yeah. Well,
when you're going killing the same people, they feel like you're targeting them. No, we would love to go kill anyone else.
There's nobody else.
You're the only people to go kill. I'm sorry, we're coming for you.
Yeah. So that's our current situation with that. Now, Brian, the regular server was updated, but also the test servers were updated. And there's a whole set of patch notes for that. So for some of the test servers, and this is the test server build, footwear was added to the Battle Royale spawns. So that's a new thing that they've added there. Now, for the next one, I have a picture. Let me see if I can pull this up really quick. So here's the picture here we're looking at. This is currently the test server build. And when you log into the test server and it asks you for your name, you get an option of 4 different skins you want. 2 are male, 2 are female, and they're just 2 different face skins for each one. So you
one
have
looks kind of like a dope.
Well, yeah, you've got.
It's like, who's this guy? That's the guy you want to kill a little bit more.
The top guy is, from what I remember, looking at the picture, he's more of a clean-cut guy. The second guy's got more of like a straggly beard, and it looks more Survivor-ish instead of clean-shaven.
Looks like he's been punched in the face a few too many times.
Well, looks like he's surviving a zombie apocalypse, unlike a guy that just shaved 15 minutes before the picture was taken. But that's the first 2 male skins, and then there's the 2 female skins. But this is going to be something that they're rolling out to the live servers, and this is we get back to this customization thing all the time, where give people the stuff to customize. This is the first step in the right direction. So instead of now,
so this should be. They submitted this 4 days ago.
So this could be in the game today. We're not in the live servers.
That's the thing, is they haven't really talked about exactly what is coming. They had on their roadmap, they have their things that they say is supposedly going to come.
But those tend to get off a little bit over time as stuff
and they
gets
have
delayed.
extra things in there that they don't put in the roadmap, is what we've run into.
Yeah, well, the roadmap is a very broad, big topics, and then on Reddit they post this, laundry list of things that they fixed. But most of it's littler stuff, but every once in a while there's a big thing.
They'll throw in something big that they didn't bother to mention.
I mean, even like this. This is a pretty big thing. This character customization is a huge deal. This is 4 different player models that you can be in game now.
And this may be something that's even next week. I mean, this may not be in today's.
Yeah.
There's a very good possibility that this will actually be next week, because they're moving around, and you said they're moving around the roadmap so much that it's hard for us to say this is guaranteed this week, it's guaranteed next week, because I assume they're just doing it as stuff is ready.
And it's exactly,
they're roughly sticking to the roadmap.
Exactly. The roadmap is a general guideline, but if something is not ready to be implemented into the game, they're not going to implement it in broken, or at least I hope to God they wouldn't implement it in broken, because I'd rather just wait a week, which obviously I think is what happened with the base building stuff. And the new things with that. But that's the
one thing I was looking forward to, but we'll talk about that one.
So that's the character customization. That's on the test servers now. So if you want to go in there and just create a general test user, you can look at that. Zombies now respond to acoustic signatures, so they.
And I think that one is, if I remember correctly, in this.
It is correct, because we talked about this last week.
They didn't say that this was good. From what I could tell, they didn't say that this was going to be pushed.
So I'm not going to go too far into this, but because we talked in depth about this last week. It's going to deal with, or it's going to react to sounds like ethanol and biofuel exploding, grenades, barrel explosions, landmines, IEDs, vehicles. Really anything that's going to make a loud sound in the game, the zombies are going to react to as of right now. So that's on the test server as well. Also,
well, and then one thing I want to make a comment on,
yeah.
with the exploding things like the landmines, IEDs, the fuels, that's going to be one of those things that impact base rating. Because if you're sitting there trying to explode things to get into the front door of a base and it keeps attracting more and more zombies, that would almost be a way to encourage people to build around some of the larger high population areas, because you would get that buildup of zombies around your base. And the second that someone tries to explode your front door, you would assume that then you would have a horde of zombies chasing those people. It's almost like another defense mechanism.
Well, yeah, you're going to need that. You're going to need members.
One reason to maybe do that, to actually build in those areas now.
Because you're going to need members setting off the battlefield, but you're also going to need people covering those members that are setting off this battlefield if these zombies are, or now that the zombies are actually reacting to those sounds. So like you said, Brian, it's that second element. Right now, you bring like 6 people to blow up a base, you laid some biofuel or ethanol down, you all just stand back, one guy shoots at it with a bow a few times, it all explodes, and you just walk into the base. There's no...
Other than zombies being attracted to you as a person,
exactly.
There's nothing from you raiding the
base.
There's
no pushback from the environment as of right now when it comes to those loud sounds, which is good that they're adding. Even the vehicle explosions, which, I mean, I don't know how loud those are going to be and how...
Well, usually when a vehicle explodes,
everybody dies. Anyways, so exactly, at that point, it really doesn't even matter.
But, you know, this will be interesting to see how it affects everything.
There's also a potential issue they fixed with the bow getting stuck on its iron sight. There's an issue where you would get stuck, stuff would get stuck and the model would get all screwed up. I think that's what they're referring to.
I think where it would sit there drawn back.
Exactly, and it would like glitch through your body and weird stuff like that.
I'd see people running around all the time with their bows drawn. And at first I thought when this bug first popped up the way it is now, there was someone running around me constantly with their bow drawn, and I kept on aiming at him, thinking that, I'm like, dude, if you shoot me, I'm going to kill you. But it's just because he was running around and he couldn't undraw his bow.
Well, there you go. So that's fixed, and
so I feel sorry for killing that guy.
That's a player model. Yeah, I'm sure you're really sorry for that, Brian. That's like a more of a player model issue more than anything else. Other than that, there's arrows fired from a recurve bow and crossbow now properly bounce off materials. So like if you shoot at like a metal car, they're not going to stick in it. It's not going to stick in the car. You're not going to run up to the car and pull your arrows back out. That'll be
interesting to see then where you have to go loot it from. Is it going to be lootable still at that point? Is it going to go to the side to where you can then go pick it up from there, or is it going to totally destroy that arrow having ricocheted?
Well, the interesting thing is it going to, exactly like you said, Brian, is it just going to lay on the ground? I mean, I would imagine it's just going to get destroyed. Because if you're shooting
right now they still have arrows that hover in the air when you shoot a zombie in the head.
I would just imagine if you hit a metal car, that arrow's probably going to get destroyed. Just realistically thinking, you miss your shot, you shouldn't be able to reclaim
for a little more
arrow,
realism.
Right? Yeah. I mean, what do you think? Is that the best solution? Should it sit on the floor? What do you think?
I think if you fired at something that is that hard, that it would at least break the tip, so make it an unusable arrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's say you shoot it at a piece of metal or you shoot it at a rock. That should damage the arrow. It shouldn't be a usable arrow. If you shoot it into something that's soft, let's say like a zombie, you shoot it into even a wood tree, then you could pull the arrow out. Yeah. And Manstand in chat saying you can't pick up arrows 9/10 of the time anyways.
You can.
And I don't know if that's intentional though, because a lot of times the arrow's there, and if I sit there long enough, like clicking on the zombie head or whatever, there's a lot of times I actually can get that arrow.
Yeah. So I guess it all depends.
So the one other thing they did is Molotovs now properly set players and NPCs on fire.
You stole my word. I was ready to pronounce that word, and you just took it from under me.
I just figured I would take that one.
Go ahead.
Have you been practicing that one?
I have been I've been practicing it. I was like, all right, I'm going to be able to pronounce this. Whatever. Go ahead, take it.
Here's
it away,
the
Brian.
next one that you can go ahead and do.
No, you do it now. This is ruined now. I don't want to do it anymore. This is ridiculous.
So the effect lasts a few seconds when outside of the fire. This is actually something I ran into. I was in a BR, and this guy, all I could get to was a Molotov, and he had a gun. And so I threw the Molotov on him. It freaked him out so much that he started running around. That gave me time to go and pick up a gun, and then he ran out the door, even though he had a gun in his hand. That was a lot of fun. So I actually got to use a Molotov in BR, and it worked out to my advantage. So grenades and Molotov explosions should be more responsive now on high pop servers. So I'm thinking that when there's more things around you, more is going on, that for some reason the Molotovs and grenades were not exploding fast enough. Maybe there's a longer delay or something from when it was actually happening. So that's something that they've changed. And I think a lot of this comes down to that explosion and fire effect again. They're still tuning the game, being that this is an early alpha. That's the sort of stuff that they're tuning. Because if you look at some games that are really finished, when I finish, I mean, the things are clean and the code is as tuned as it can be. You're not going to run into, you can have all kinds of flame effects and maybe lava and different things that on this game currently would lag it out really badly.
Yeah.
These are the things that they're going to keep tuning to where fire should not lag you at all. So people can't use fire against you, not use it in a negative way.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that's an interesting thing. That they're still working on the whole grenade throwable thing. That's still very, very early alpha. Let's just throw that out there. They don't function like they should all the time.
Some people can't even throw them.
I was trying with it. That was one thing I played on the test server a little bit this week for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. And some grenade, the same grenade, it was the same smoke grenade. Some of them I could throw, some of them I couldn't. I just had to drop some of them because I couldn't use them. It was very weird. But the one thing that's in the test servers now is the lip sync. That works.
Now I know I saw it in BRs as well.
I did see it in BRs. That's where I actually saw it because in the test server I was trying to stay away from as many people as possible.
So I noticed this in the BR waiting area. Jumped in one of those cars with people, and then I just looked over to the side of this dude, and his mouth is just flapping away. I mean, not that it has anything to do with the words.
Just
kind of what I was.
Just what you wanted to happen, right, Brian?
Yeah, it's just like exactly what I was expecting. It's like a puppet that the mouth is going and the hands aren't quite matching up to the mouth.
It's close. It's close enough. It's a feature. It's close enough.
To me, you can't even see it, and I don't think it's not in regular servers because I had somebody sit there and say, "All right, yell into the mic." It doesn't work in a regular server, so it is definitely patch servers, but it is out on BRs.
Yeah, and another.
I don't know why.
And another quick
thing doesn't add to realism for me
about the battle royales. An arrow bundle will now spawn near the crossbow, so you'll get a bundle. You're not gonna have to run through the forest and pick up sticks and then convert those to arrows. This is battle royale. You don't have time to do that stuff.
Because they had the bundles of arrows actually spawning near bows.
Yes.
So they must have forgotten that if you have a crossbow, maybe you will need some arrows.
You also need some arrows. There's no compound arrow in the game yet. No carbon fiber arrows. It's just everything right now is just the regular arrows made from sticks. So those will spawn next to the crossbows. This is a huge thing. This next part, vehicles. This is the big thing they've been talking about for weeks. The occupants will now be able to shoot from within the vehicles.
And we actually have a little video, a little clip of that happening here later.
Yeah, but as of right now, currently only the passengers can shoot from within the car, so the driver cannot shoot.
So if you're a driver,
it's not GTA style. You're not just like smashing out the windshield or your side window and shooting a pistol. And the player in the driver's seat cannot, and the occupants can also be hit from people outside the vehicle. This is going to be a big thing. Which is going to
be night-day difference. This is going to change what vehicles are.
Right now, when I see a player in game, I try to run them over. I know I can't, but it's just this thing. You just run towards them. They jump out of the way. They strafe. They do whatever. Now I'm going to stay away from people when I'm in a vehicle because they can easily kill you or anybody else in the car. And I'm not sure what's going to happen if the driver gets killed. Is the car slowly going to come to a halt? I don't know how that's going to work. Is the body going to disappear out of the seat?
Yeah, is that guy now what? No, they're not going to do this, but what would be cool is if you shot the guy who's driving, he kind of folds and falls out the driver's seat, kind of like what you would see in GTA. Mm-hmm. You know, like he goes and rolls out the side dead. Then someone has the option, but I'm assuming what they're going to do is he's just going to drop through the floor, kind of like just how things work in this game. He's going to drop through the floor and just be left behind, and people will be able to switch into that seat.
Well, exactly, but that's going to be the big thing. Is like, they got to make sure that you can switch back into that first seat.
Now, Fury in HD says, can you sit there and just like spam going between seats to avoid being shot? Because you can almost go like Control 2, Control 3, Control 2, Control 3.
I mean, you could if the car's not full, but if there's...
Yeah, someone else is driving, you can just sit there and spam across all the other seats to avoid being headshot.
I don't see... I guess. Good luck.
It works.
I mean,
Why can't if there's two back seats? Why can't I lay
Oh,
down
no.
where I can't get a headshot?
Right, but you're asking for a lot, Brian. This is the first run through of shooting with vehicles.
Can I hide behind the seat like this?
Can I just hide behind the steering wheel?
Well, later maybe.
Yeah, this is the first run through of the vehicles, but you can now get shot from inside a vehicle, and you can now shoot outside of a vehicle. First pass through, going to be very buggy, I'm assuming. But
Now this next one is something that I said.
Go ahead,
I called
Brian.
this early on.
Take it away.
Boots now have a small resistance to punji stick damage. Didn't we say this day one when we said, all right,
They don't do anything.
what's the point of having boots then? They should make it so that, this is my quote, but they should make it so that when you walk over punji sticks that you don't take as much damage. End of quote, right?
Yeah.
There we go. This is it. When you walk over punji sticks with boots, so now there is actually a point. Now they need to make it so that if you're climbing up the side of a mountain, you have less chance of slipping, or you have an extra ability to be able to climb up the more steep terrain with boots. So now you know H1Z1, you know what to put in next.
Thanks,
There you go.
Brian, for the information.
I'm sure they're taking notes. I mean, to me, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
You make another use for the boots other than just punji sticks to where you could climb up the side of a mountain easier in boots.
And then the next thing on the test servers, the crossbows and recurves can now be repaired with repair kits. We talked about that. That's in the actual game now as well. So that's all in there. And then there was an issue where the character's parachute didn't show up in Battle
Well, no,
Royale.
the person didn't appear with the parachute.
Exactly. So you would just you would be a
this.
floating parachute until you hit the ground, and then you.
When I was in BR, especially in first-person hardcore, it's really difficult when you can't even see your character. Well, in the first person, you can't see your character, but you would fly upside down. In this one, in the regular ones, you'd fly upside down, and you just would see this parachute. You'd have to kind of just try to guide the parachute because you can't see where your character is going to land. All you see is the straps, the parachute sitting there.
And it's not as bad of a problem in third person, but the second your player makes contact with the ground, your model reappears. So I'm glad they fixed that, though. That was in there for a while. Like that was a consistent thing where it was like, Jesus, like I'm just a parachute again, hitting the ground.
Now, how far away are we from a quality of life patch?
I'm not sure, Brian. But
is that in a week or two? I'm thinking
with
there's one more
with this new patch schedule, I'm not sure if anything.
I'm thinking that they'll have one more patch and then a quality of life patch because the roadmap, if I remember correctly, is like the second or something. I'm thinking after that's a quality of life patch. So I'm kind of curious what they're going to be putting into that. We'll have to keep an eye on what that might be.
Brian, we've got something else. Are you ready for this?
All right, let's hear it.
We've got some breaking news, Brian. All right, breaking news. We're keeping up to date. That's your money is funding the soundboard right here. That's what that's doing.
That free soundboard.
Yeah, that free soundboard. A tweet from Tom. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's like Shenik or something on Twitter. He's Tom Slick 42. He says it's been rather unfun tracking down a crash bug, but we're putting in H1Z1 game test server update around 5 p.m. To ensure we got it. That's right now. That's 5 minutes from now. They're going to be putting out a test server update. So I don't think we're going to be seeing an actual server update tonight. I think it's safe to assume that based on the time right now, it's 5 o'clock Pacific, we're not going to see an actual Tuesday patch this week. It doesn't make any sense. There's obviously a big issue with people crashing, and I'd rather have them throw that on the test server and get it all ironed out and delay the patch by a day.
Yeah.
So that's what we have right now.
So let's think this through a little bit though. It could be possible that they've had some issue rolling out something on the regular servers. Mm-hmm. So in putting in a new test server update, they may be just doing a short test to see if whatever they're trying to do on the regular one works on this test one, and then right after roll it out.
Yeah, and apparently the issue, according to Twitter, is when a vehicle would hit a zombie, it would equal a crash. So you crashing into a zombie would crash the game. And I guess that's what they're fixing.
So they may have fixed that in the regular code, but they want to test it first before they roll it out. So it could be that they roll this out within the next 5 minutes. They put out that update. They let some people jump in and test it out. They may maybe just be logging into their own characters and driving. I mean,
this is going to be, at the earliest, we're going to see 3 or 4 a.m. this morning. That's what's going to be happening. There will not be. I would be very, very surprised if they push an actual game update so late into the night, because now it's prime time for people playing. This is going to be 9, 10 o'clock on the East Coast, a few hours behind on the West Coast. This is prime time. I doubt they're going to kill the servers then. They're going to wait until probably the early hours of Wednesday before they throw out this patch. I would assume. Yeah. It just seemed it doesn't make any sense for them.
But we'll see. I mean,
we will see.
They always surprise me.
Well, we'll see. So that's
hard to guess what they're going to do.
That's the breaking news. You get it latest from Infection, the H1Z1 podcast, live every week. There you go.
Very good.
The soundboard is new. The soundboard is new.
Yeah, so he had to test it out.
Exactly. I was like, perfect.
So now power and lights, that's something that Schmedley actually put out a post. He's like, what is this? Power at the dam?
And I went to the dam. I did my in-depth reporting, and there is actually power at the dam. So we're going to roll this video here, and I'm going to talk over it a little bit. This is the dam on the test server, and you can see right away, once it's nighttime, that there's street lights that are lit up on the top of the dam road that connect the road from Cranberry to Avram. There are lights up there, and there are also lights on the side of the dam. I'm going to roll back the video a little bit back here, but you can see that there's lights on the side walls of the dam where water would be flowing out as well. Now, one quick thing with this, Brian, it appears that these lights are on all day. You don't notice it when the day is on, but as you walk towards these lights, you get this weird kind of flickering effect on screen. It's almost like an anti-aliasing issue because these light models are always on or whatever they're doing. So there's a little graphical bug during the daytime when you're running towards these lights. It's not a huge deal, but it's just something I noticed. I was waiting for it to become nighttime, and I was like, are these lights on? What's going on with this graphical bug? But
they just need to put in a timer.
Exactly. Like once it's night,
says, all right, when it's this time of the day, lights off.
I don't even know if
this time of the day, lights on.
I don't even know if the lights were on, but there was just a weird graphical glitch where it looked like there was something lighting up. So that's what's going on with the lights. But it's nice that the lights. This is the first step. We keep talking about power in the game. And being able to power lights outside your base.
So here, this is another one of my predictions unfolding, right?
Here we go.
Because didn't I call this the first month? Or like, I said, why don't they do, or the first, like when they first released the dam, like any word of the dam was mentioned, I laid out this whole plan of, okay, well, why don't they have it to where the dam makes power and the power lights this, or, the power does this, and then it powers the radio station. Here in the coming weeks, they're going to be releasing the radios and the walkie-talkies.
Mm-hmm.
This is all an unfolding of our original idea.
The master plan is complete.
The master plan, it's like, I don't know if they saved that clip of the podcast and they're just kind of using it for notes.
They're looping it over and 24 hours.
They're like, okay, so what did he say here? All right, let's make sure do that.
At 47:32, Brian mentioned the fact that the dam should be powered.
Yeah, and so there you go. They're just they're going through that conversation. So I'll have to go back and listen to that one.
It's a cool feature. It's nice that you're running through. It's not pitch black, right? It's just it's a little ambiance thing that adds a lot to the game. At least right now, you're running through the dam.
But this is where, for me, okay, it's cool they're doing that. They're going to have lights down in PV,
right?
But this has to be towards an end game. I mean, this has got to be an end game this has got to be something that's not even necessarily end game, but just a player event, a weekly resetting. Even I don't want it to be something that is an hourly thing, like you're constantly seeing.
Because if it's every hour, it's not even going to be worth it. Like you're not even going to want to deal with keeping the lights on.
But if it's something that every few days, or at minimum of every 24 hours, you're battling over who controls the power.
Well, what if it's something that blows up? What if it you turn on the power and similar to raiding a base, you have to go there and you blow up the main lever, the on-off switch, and then somebody's got to recraft that on-off switch and put it back up. I mean, it could even be something as simple as that. But something to, I mean, obviously they don't want to make it so one biofuel blows up this switch, but this is something that a huge clan is going to have to do. Multiple members are going to have to craft biofuel or ethanol, go and blow up this switch or this main fuse, however they want to do this, and then somebody else is going to have to recraft that fuse or switch or whatever they want to do.
What if you had to do explosives at the dam to explode the dam? Not that it permanently damages it, but something like that.
Exactly.
As far as
to stop that power
something
flow.
That stops the power and then it resets.
Exactly. Just something that where groups of people are going to have to. I mean, it's going to be the clans that are controlling it on the servers. It's going to be simple as that. If it's not like that, it's kind of useless. But clans are going to need to control it.
You don't want it to where one dude's messing up
Exactly.
things
Like
for
it's
everyone that whole week.
like Gary's mod where it's just one switch. Like just interact.
Lights on.
Lights on, lights off. Like you're not interacting with an object. You have to craft something. Or maybe you have to have multiple people around the dam pressing a button at the same time. I mean,
make it a puzzle. I mean,
exactly.
That's what made WoW so amazing and for so many people was that thing is a puzzle, and it's everybody figuring out a puzzle. Name me one puzzle in this game.
Well, yeah, as of right now, there's nothing. But I mean, you talk like launch codes. Right? You got to have two people that put the keys in the slot and turn them at the same time. Maybe you need 3 members to all count down to press the button, and it starts the turbines up.
Make some sort of a coordination, something where people have to work together and encourage that grouping, because being a lone wolf in this game is only going to get you so far. I think the future really is going to be focused on groups of people. As soon as they could get that clan system in and start working on these things, I think that's going to be bringing in a lot of the players that have stopped playing.
Yeah. All right.
And of course, they talk about opening the gates. So Heisenberg, who's in chat's Fire Mage Kane, he's talking about how to open the gates. If they create it to where you have to start the power, you have to maybe through the radio tower initiate contact with the next town to let them know to also run the power to open the gates on their side, which then will open the gates to let you go to a new area. Something. This is all kind of stuff we talked about, but that would be something that would give you something to do.
Brian, I don't know if you've ever played like Nazi zombies on like Call of Duty World at War, but that's a kind of a scenario you're describing. There was a situation where you turn on the power, but you have to link up multiple teleporters or whatever like that. Is that the kind of thing you're going towards, where it's like you have to broadcast out to the server that, hey, the lights are on. Somebody's got to be in Cranberry. Somebody's got to be in PV. You got to do something. You got to flip the breakers in those cities.
I think if they would create more of, and this would be them getting away from, because right now there's not really any NPCs in the game, right?
Yeah.
There's not really anything outside of people. If they created to where you could power on the radio tower, initiate contact, some sort of a radio transmission is sent back and forth it's not you talking in your mic saying, hey, wake up.
Power's on.
But it's some sort of a recorded, then like what they did that little radio thing that they did before they released the game. Some sort of a signal goes to them, and then some sort of a response comes back to this other town that has people in it. Not that when you get to that town, you're going to see people, but create that sort of interaction. I mean, it's kind of a quest system. Something is happening. You're encouraging the next step in the puzzle to go on, and then you go to that area and whatever, if it's just PvP from there on out. But they could expand it out to so much more if they started doing that.
Yeah. So again, Brian, like you keep saying, it's working towards that end game, right? There's got to be some type of end game, and we'll see in the coming weeks how they want to input. The lights are just a start. What are they going to do next? We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
What they want to do.
I mean, who knows in the very end what they're going to do. I mean, I wouldn't mind having some sort of NPC, some sort of dialogue. Not that you're going to have people standing around, that are in the town selling stuff like we talked about last week, but some sort of a dialogue or some sort of storyline or something keeping that story going that keeps you involved, even if it resets every week.
Yeah. Well, so we'll have to see. I mean, there's a lot, like we were just saying, there's lots of different ways they can go. The question is which way will they go? But I don't think
you have to wait till it rains for the water. Like Infected Joe in chat saying, you have to wait for the rain to start, right?
Yeah.
And then it will fill up the dam enough, and then you can create power, which starts this event. Yeah. Like once they bring in the weather system in.
Now the one thing with that is
maybe a different set of systems when it's cold in this winter.
I mean, this is going to be stuff that they're going to be implementing over the lifespan of the game. This is not going to be stuff that we're going to be seeing within the next few months. This is going to be these are long-term projects, right?
For me, these are long-term goals. This is just hopefully an idea of where this goes.
Exactly. So let's just throw that out there for anybody that's listening. These are not things that we're going to be seeing in the game soon. These are just theories and ideas that eventually we could possibly see in game, but things that are going to take many, many months to fully implement and get working and get intertwined. The hand slot.
I wanted to quickly talk about first, because we did talk about some of the updates, but the actual updates that they're supposed to be doing tonight. I don't mind do you mind if I just run through those really quick?
Roll with that.
Because we already talked about the vehicle combat features because they're in the test server So that's not necessarily we need to cover, but they are fixing some of the female motion animation improvements, so that they're making it so that the females move more normally. I think that the guy also runs really funny, in my opinion. You ever just kind of run with him and you look at, sometimes he just seems like he's running very rigid.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of them, almost all the models in the game are kind of, even the zombies, they run. It's just weird. Like they'll stop, they move weird.
Run
exactly.
So I think they're going to continue having to work on that to get it to look more fluid and natural. But that's something they're doing with the female character is trying to make it so that she moves more smoothly.
Okay.
They're doing more screen effects. So when you drink alcohol, swizzle, the zombie vision when you have the virus, so when you throw smoke and gas. They're making it so that those screen effects are better. So we'll have to see once they actually release that, what it looks like. Fixed shadow cascade, we mentioned that it was coming around your feet. Supposedly that's supposed to happen. And then the zombies reacting to sound. Other than that, they did put a note in here, this being moved. Now, this kind of confused me when they first put this, because it's after zombies, right? Mm-hmm. Before base building improvements. They didn't say which one it was actually linking to, right?
Yeah.
If you read that, this being moved to later in the month, it is actively being worked on. Now, is it saying that the zombies reacting to sound is actively being worked on?
I think,
or the base building improvements?
I think it's the base building improvements, because the zombies are already on the test server. So that's already on the test server. That's going to be in the game soon.
I know, but just the way they worded this in here, I went and had to double check
is this
on some different posts.
It's like a coincidence, I think not thing that's going on here?
Well, no, I just think they should make it more clear.
Their
this is linked to this item.
The clarifications have been a problem since day one. I mean, you just look at the Reddit post. It's like, why would you word it like that? Just like they word some of these bugs, and it's like you and I are having to talk back and forth to figure out what they mean. Just like, give us plain text. This is what this means. It's fine if you're delaying stuff, but make it clear.
Yeah, and so this is something that I just looked at that, and it just wasn't clear, because you would expect them to put a note and have them talking about what they just said. Mm-hmm. But they didn't link it to a thing. So that's going to be what supposedly is coming in this next patch. Of course, they said they're moving out the base building stuff.
Yeah. Now, really quickly, we should have brought this up a little while ago, but we talked about shooting inside of vehicles, and how that whole system is going to work. So we got a video right here from Vine, and it's this person sitting in the passenger seat with a pistol, and they're in the first person mode. They're in the Jeep. And they swing around to the back, and then they shoot the person in the back seat. And that's how that vehicle combat is going to work. Now, the one thing interesting they don't show is shooting outside the vehicles. So I'm not sure. It works the same.
Doing that in real life would blow out your eardrums. But
yes.
I wonder if there's going to be some sort of. I wonder if they're going to do that ringing effect that you get when there's some sort of explosion, because that would be kind of fun to make it so that then your hearing is all messed up after you shoot inside of a car.
Yeah. So that's, again, vehicle combat first pass. The shooting outside is going to be similar, but that's a cool representation of that, and you can see how it seemed to work pretty flawlessly. There's a kill message, which I've never seen before.
No, and that was one thing I noticed.
That was
actually, I forgot after I saw that originally. I looked at that and I said, "Hey, that's new."
It says, like,
and I was
Vincent
thinking I need to bring
Martin.
this up, and I'm glad you noticed it.
Yeah.
But if you look, it says this person killed this person.
Yeah, Vincent killed Martin.
I don't know if that's a test server thing.
I would assume that's I don't think that's a test server thing. That might be like a developer thing, like the developers.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like their inside test environment.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I mean, maybe I don't know if within a certain range you'll see those kill messages. Maybe
I've never seen
possibly
it.
That's something they're working on.
It seems like they always kind of throw stuff into those videos where we're like, what is that? Like, what's going on in this?
I've always tried to keep
what's
an
this
eye out
extra
for those
stuff
little
going
details.
on in this video? So maybe that's just a little Easter egg they threw in there for the hell of it, just to keep everybody on their toes and keep track of what's going on.
Now, as a clan, we were talking about this on our team speak, and we were looking at it and just thinking, hopefully they don't make this like Keystone Cops. You know, like people hanging out the windows shooting.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be that
from this
bad.
video. It doesn't look like that.
No.
But we were wondering, like, man, it'd be really funny if people are like hanging out the window.
Yeah, I mean,
shooting.
the one thing that's interesting is since you're not leaning outside the window, you have to shoot around other objects in the car. If you're in the passenger seat, you're either shooting straight ahead, a little bit to the left, or to the right, because you've got that middle support beam where the back seat starts. So this is not like you said.
Is the first shot going to blow out the window? Because
that's a huge problem right now. Even blowing out windows in houses, you have to sometimes shooting a window shoot twice. Sometimes it doesn't even blow out the windows The house by our old base, or by our base, sometimes I have to shoot the window like 2 or 3 times for it to blow out, and I'm like, damn, the guy's already gone. So maybe I'm not sure what they're going to do with the glass, but you're not going to get.
I wonder
too
if you
good
can
shot.
punch the glass initially just to get it cleared out and then shoot.
But why would you shoot that? Because that means somebody's going to have to get 2 headshots on you, which is going to be very unlikely.
But my trick is I wait until that first shot happens. So that will be a reason for you to sit there, hold your gun out, wait till someone takes that initial shot, and then headshot them.
Yeah, because if you keep that, it's going to kind of be a little trade-off there if they do it like that, because it means you're not going to be able to shoot out of the vehicle right away, but that means somebody's not going to be able to shoot into the vehicle right away.
And how are you going to shoot with a sniper rifle in a vehicle like that, first of all?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, how are they going to do that animation? Is it only going to be handguns inside of the vehicles?
I would think it might only be handguns. I mean, realistically, I'm even thinking Grand Theft Auto, you don't have access to all of your guns inside the vehicles, I don't think. You can't use a rocket launcher.
I just can't imagine them trying to smoothly have you pull out this sniper rifle and then swing it around the car, just smack the driver in the head.
It could be a pistol and a shotgun you could use. That seems, compared to the 308,
but still,
that
that'd
seems
be quite
more
the
realistic.
kick for your.
It would be, but
sitting in a car.
Definitely pistol. Wouldn't surprise me if the shotgun was in there. But still, that's going to be a really interesting trade-off. Do you shoot out the window first, or do you let somebody shoot out the window?
That's part of that strategy.
Exactly. So we'll see.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, and then that'll be implemented. I don't even know when now, but it'll be implemented soon.
Yep. And so we'll have to see. Now, there's another one on here that I put that is actually shooting from outside of the vehicle.
Okay.
So if you go to the next one, this is someone shooting a person that's inside a car, driving a car, just showing that actually works.
Yeah, and then,
so this is something that I'm excited for, because right now, someone's in a vehicle, all you're trying to do is blow up the vehicle. You lose the vehicle.
Yeah. Now, now
the goal is with the 308 to shoot them.
Just looking at this video,
you stayed in the vehicle, right?
Yeah,
Did it look like that?
Yeah, but the other thing I'm looking at is there doesn't appear to even be a window there. It's not smoky. There's no glare. It looks like there's just no window.
Now, with that, maybe the Jeep, though, because the Jeeps generally don't have the windows up.
But look at the back. I just paused this here. I'm not sure how well. This just may be me overthinking something here, but look at the front window compared to the windshield or that back window. There's a little bit of a gloss. Like, it's a little smoky. It's a little washed out. The front window, the driver's side window, appears to have none of that at all.
That's what I'm saying. It's either it's already shot out, or I don't remember, on the Jeeps they do have the glass. So maybe
they do all have the.
No,
no, that's the interesting thing here. It's either already shot out, or they're gonna change how that loads. But I mean, in the kill message is there again, which is interesting. But you can see that animation looks like it works pretty smooth. The vehicle's not moving. That's going to be the interesting thing.
Now that's one thing that we were wondering about. See how his head drops forward?
Yeah, he's still in the car.
Seat.
So how does somebody?
At what point can you switch seats with the driver?
Maybe they have to respawn.
Or does his loot bag now drop out of the car?
I think the loot bag is going to drop out of the car, and it's going to be the responsibility of the person that got killed to press respawn as quick as they can, so somebody can hop in that seat. That player model is probably going to stay there until they click respawn.
But then you control someone by not hitting respawn.
But you're going to be in their car, so really, well, yeah, you make a valid point there. You would never.
I don't know how they're going to work that out yet.
Yeah, they're going to have to. I'm not sure. There's got to be a solution. I can't think of one right now. I mean, plus the other thing, Brian. I mean, you can't even run people over because the hitboxes with the cars are so weird. How is this going to work with people driving? It just seems like there's going to be a lot of problems with this. And again, it's first pass, but we're just bringing up these concerns.
That's one thing I'm kind of curious. I don't know. I like the actual animation of him dropping forward. That is more realistic.
Yeah. How
they're going to fit that into gameplay, though, with how this works. It's not like other games where you have to pull the person out the seat and there's that process. You know, maybe in the future they'll add that.
But right now it's just.
But right now we're just so used to, if someone dies or is gone from a car, they just are left behind on the road. And this is the first instance that I've seen that not happen.
I'm not sure what they're going to do. It's going to be interesting to see.
And Ferment says it would be stupid for the loot to drop out of the car, but where else is it going to be? It's not going to be there's not going to be a loot bag sitting in the driver's seat.
I don't think it's stupid for it to drop out of the car.
What if it went in the trunk?
No, I don't think that's how it should work, because then why would you kill somebody driving a vehicle? You're not even going to get their loot. Somebody's just going to hop in the driver's seat and drive away. That loot's got to drop. It makes no sense. There would be no prerogative for you to shoot the driver.
But that's what I'm saying is why don't you just have it to where the loot bag goes to the trunk where you can loot it?
No, I'm talking about well, here's the thing. I'm thinking of us driving around in a group of 4. The driver gets killed, somebody switches to that driver's seat, and we just drive away. I mean, the person is never going to get that. The person that shot them is never going to get that loot. It's got to drop out of the car.
But I'm saying, why not just have that fall to the back seat or to the trunk?
Because if it falls to the trunk,
people that were in the car could loot it.
Exactly, but the person that killed them is not going to be able to loot it. That's the problem.
That's what I'm saying, is why not have it go to the trunk, so if the people can jump into the driver's seat and get away, they end up with a loot bag.
I'm not sure. I don't know how. I think I'd want the loot bag to completely drop. And then you have to, if there's other people in that car, if people
drive away, then you get to get the loot bag.
But the interesting thing is here, if the loot bag drops, you have to make the choice. If you're in that vehicle, do I stop and defend this loot bag? Does this guy have a lot of loot?
I mean,
or do I just keep driving away?
That brings in that extra gameplay element.
I think the loot bag needs to drop, because if I'm shooting at somebody in a car and I know I'm not going to get that loot bag, why am I going to waste my ammo shooting at them?
Because you have to get all of them. If they bring it into where the loot bag drops on the ground, there is kind of a benefit then to sniping people and letting them drive away.
It is
stupid to sit there and try to then loot the bag.
Yeah, but it's going to be that interesting.
Dead.
If somebody kills a fresh spawn in your car, and it's like, who cares? There's nothing in the loot bag, drive away. But if you kill the guy that's storing all your ammo, it's like, hey, we're gonna have to stop and kill this guy that just shot our man. So that's what's going to happen.
Well, and I think that both ways would have a fun element to it.
Yeah.
It would be a different, strategy on attacking the car if the loot bag stayed with it versus, being dropped behind. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, or if there's a loot bag at all.
Nisco brings up the interesting point. He says the car is the loot. True. Now that we play on a high pop server, we realize how rare cars are. And how they are
it's what's strange is sometimes there's a million of them,
and sometimes there's none.
Then sometimes there's nothing.
Forever. We constantly checking our spawns. There's like 7 spawns in our base, and we just back and forth checking the spawns. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. And then we've got 4 cars at the base. It's like, well, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's a weird.
So Brian, the hand slot was something that was added into the game a few patches ago. And now we're seeing our first...
and we didn't actually have anything that went into the hand slot.
And now we're seeing the first revision of stuff that's going to go in this hand slot. So showing on screen right now for all you audio listeners, there are 5 gloves in that we're showing right here. This is from Sebastian again. He's the guy that's been putting out all these renders and on all these images. These are finger tipless gloves. These are just kind of cut off, almost like racing style gloves. Where it covers, your hand, but there's no fingers.
And once again, these are all the same model.
Correct. Same model.
This is just different skins on the same model. So this is just one set of gloves that he's put out. And once again, the Sebastian guy, these look good.
Yeah.
There's detail on these.
So
I like that.
There's 5 on here. The first one is black and red. The second one is leather. It's just a completely leather skin. The third one is blue and white. Fourth one is a gray and orange, and then the 5th one is just like a dark and light gray mixture. So but now Brian, you say they're all the same model, but they're not. The first 2 have
they did put slight variations of the things around the wrist and on the knuckles. I mean, the actual skin is there, but he did add some extra, because I'm assuming that if you looked at those up closely, there's actually some rounded, raised areas on the part of the texture. It's not just a flat thing.
It's not like the T-shirts where it's just like literally just the same stuff printed on.
There's exactly the same folds.
Exactly.
Everything.
There's different variations. Some have buttons. Some have these little like spike things on them, and these other.
This is the kind of detail that I like. Yeah, I get kind of frustrated when everything's the same.
This is nice. This is clear. This is not a low resolution image. This is clear what's going to be in the game. There's 5 of these different models. And there's obvious detail. Somebody spent time on this. This was not a slap together in an afternoon thing. This was.
So Manstan says they need brass knuckles, and I can totally see them putting brass knuckles in for your fist fighting.
The fresh spawns with.
Well, you put brass knuckles and it'll go in your hand slot, and then we'll do you'll have to do when people are fist fighting. Say, hey, it's bare knuckles, no brass knuckles.
Brass knuckle fight. I have to do like a UFC event and in our team speak or something.
Yeah. Hey, we did do as a clan. We did do a little UFC or a boxing match between another clan, and I did lose by 1 hit. Oh. I had him at 3%. I mean, hey, I'm man enough to admit it. I lost, and then Ferment killed them all.
Of course he did.
Well, Ferment shot one of them, and then the rest of the clan all started shooting, and everyone died.
Oh, there you go. The next thing from Sebastian, Brian, is kind of just a weird thing that I don't know why they're doing this stuff, but looking at the picture here, it's the players' heads swapped with different models. So there's
I think they're trying to match up.
It's not working. I can tell you that much.
I don't know why they're putting the male head on the female body.
This is Dave.
It looks creepy.
This is Dave, whoever works at H1Z1, working on swappable head system. So we just got a mismatch of heads.
Men and women are not the same all the time. So I think they need to figure out that the necks on those are way different. It looks like one of them is wearing a mask of a male head.
Exactly. And the other one just looks like the head is extremely small compared to the body.
That looks like some of the voices that we hear when we run around. Avram.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, guys.
Brian. That was mean.
Is that a girl? No, that's a boy. Okay. We've said that multiple times this week.
Yeah. We'll stay away from that. We're trying to be friendly, Brian, remember? Friendly with the other clans.
It's the joy of running around and meeting new people.
So that was the swappable heads. Brian, I want you to go into this a little bit. You've been playing a lot of the hardcore BR, and they've added a new game mode for hardcore BR. You want to go into that a little bit?
All right, so they're looking at adding this is them saying that they are going to add it, but they're going to be adding a nighttime hardcore BR. So a nighttime BR, they're calling it hardcore BR is getting a change. Nighttime BR is coming with zombies, bears. Good luck. So this is going to really change. I mean, having other things in the BR with you, that's going to be something totally different. Now, let me read this back to you, and you tell me how you interpret this. Hardcore BR is getting a change, period.
Yes.
Nighttime BR is coming with zombies and bears. Good luck.
Yes.
Are they saying that hardcore BR is getting some changes made, and then also they're adding nighttime BRs?
Yeah. Yes.
Are these two different things?
I think this is two different things. The first sentence, hardcore BR is getting a change, period. That is the end of what they're trying to say with that. And then the next thing is nighttime BR is coming.
So they're going to be making some tweaks to hardcore BR.
Correct. But then they're
also adding another game mode.
Again,
that's kind of what I got out of this,
really,
but I wasn't sure.
Really crappy wording. Like, could have made this a lot more clear.
This is Twitter. You got to fit it into...
Yeah, but this is not even that many characters. I mean, this is a very short tweet. They could have just made this... Changes coming to hardcore BR, also adding...
Why did they put, changing hardcore BR and...
They could have put also...
BR is coming.
They could have put also, they could have put and, they could have put the and sign. I mean, there's many of things they could have done. This is what Adam Clegg decided to tweet out. Again, just can't be straight to the point. We got to play... They need stuff to speculate on, Brian. They're helping us with content. Everything was so straightforward.
Thank you, guys.
We'd have nothing to talk about.
They make it hard enough to figure out what they're trying to say. We can go a lot of different directions with it.
So I'm taking this. Hardcore BR is getting a change. But I could see how you could construe this as there's no more hardcore BR, it's just nighttime. I don't think that's what they mean. Because that makes no sense. Those are two completely different
Or
games.
they're making it so hardcore BR is also zombies, bears, and nighttime all the time. I mean, you could take this so many different ways.
I don't even know. There's hardcore BR is changing in some way. There's gonna be nighttime as well.
So no, I put in here some notes. What about with first person headshots only BRs, melee only BRs, which would be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. Crossbow and bow only BRs. Imagine some of these things that they could throw in there.
Time will tell, right? I mean, over time, this stuff is gonna get added.
But imagine a crossbow bow only BR. That would be. Short of the hackers going in there and using crossbows from across the map.
Magic crossbow bolts from across the map?
Now, we've been seeing a lot of those lately of just one-shot crossbows from out of render distance. Those are wonderful.
Yeah.
But if they could get it to where that's not a problem, I really think that these different modes of maybe melee only, crossbow only, that would be a lot of fun to have in a BR. Maybe make them start out smaller or the smoke come in a lot faster.
Yeah. And I mean, there doesn't need to be too many. I mean, at this point, what did you write in the notes? You wrote first person,
headshot only, melee only. I was just listing off some possible different.
I think these are going to be trial and error things, right? They're gonna try this nighttime BR. If nobody likes it, they're gonna get rid of it, and they may try melee only. If nobody likes melee
and we've been
only,
playing, as you said, a lot of hardcore BR.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fun.
Personally,
but the problem is
I've never played.
You have to wait forever.
There's not enough people. I've never played it because first of all, I didn't feel like waiting, and second of all, I don't really like the whole first person thing. It's weird. I don't really like it.
It's a lot easier to get to top 10 in.
Well, exactly, because you don't have to deal with people seeing you from, behind when they can only look, ahead. But either way, this is going to be trial and error. They're going to try game modes. If they don't work out, then they'll figure something else out. But that's what's... I mean, they're going to have to try, right? You don't want 1,000 different hardcore BR modes at this point. Because there's not enough people...
But they're going to have to, as you said, they're going to have to figure out what people like, and then that's what they're going to put in there.
You even said it, Brian. There's not enough people even playing hardcore. They have 2 BR modes right now, regular and hardcore, and there's not even enough people playing hardcore BR. There's 10,000 people playing the game right now.
Now, why? Here's one idea I had last week. Why don't they have one that, for an extra chance at maybe better loot, is random? It's not a set, whatever the game mode is going to be. You go into the queue not knowing what it is going to be, and then if you exit out of the queue immediately, there's some sort of a penalty. Or I guess at the point when you're paying for them, you're not going to want to exit out again. You'll still lose that ticket. But if you could have it to where there's a random mode BR that you queue up for, maybe with an advanced set of prizes to get people playing these other BR modes.
I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. But they're gonna have to do something with BR. They're either gonna have to gain population back on the game, or they're gonna have to, like you said, Brian, make the reward worth it. Because majority of the time, you're not even. I mean, personally, I'm not gonna finish in the top 10. So it's like, for me, it's fun to play, but I'm not finishing in the top 10. I'm just not that good. So
come on, you got to believe in yourself. You can do it.
Thanks. I really appreciate the help there, Brian. Brian, I've got more for you. Here we go. All right. There's Daybreak Games. Let me know.
I thought you were going to announce that Adam is in the Target store.
Adam's not. Adam is not working. He's posting pictures.
He's at Target.
He's posting pictures of his.
That's the breaking news.
His dogs in Target. That is not the breaking news.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning, starting at 7 a.m. Pacific, so that's 10 o'clock Eastern. Daybreak Game Company is doing scheduled maintenance, and all logins and purchases may be impacted for 2 to 5 hours. That's a lot of time. I wonder if they're still moving name servers and stuff over from Sony Online to Daybreak. This is Daybreak maintenance. So this is server company wide. They're moving some. They got to be still transitioning stuff from Sony Online.
Yeah, because I can imagine what they're doing that would impact it for that long.
Exactly. That's the only thing I can think is moving name server. Because even their status,
they're calling this general maintenance. It's not even patch stuff.
No, it's not a game maintenance. But you may not be able to play H1Z1 between the hours of 10 a.m. tomorrow morning and 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern. You just may not be able to log in. So just throwing that out there. And they still haven't talked about the patch, so we have no clue when that's going to be either. I can't imagine that's going to be at the same time as their scheduled maintenance, because then both things will be down at the same time. I'm not sure. But there you go. Keeping you up to date with the latest news. If you hate that breaking news sound effect, send us an email and we won't play it anymore. Just we're giving it a try.
That's his new toy.
We're giving it a try, right? Trying to make the show more enjoyable. We're all good.
It's fine. I forgive you, Nick.
Thanks, Brian.
So
where were
now
we?
Here's one thing that Smedley got a lot of flack from.
Yeah.
Is these ban apology videos. And I put one of them in there. First one, to be honest, I wish it wasn't about the money, but he's first, and that means something. So this guy made a public apology in a video for hacking, and so they unbanned him.
This is stupid. I understand what they're trying to do, but I mean, everybody says it. Once a hacker, always a hacker. Once a hacker, always a hacker. This guy may never cheat again, but I don't like the principle. I really don't like the principle. Why is it fair that he gets unbanned? Was he a hardcore hacker?
I've never heard of this until they started talking about it. This wasn't something that I had.
I didn't know
anything about them talking about even doing.
I didn't even know that companies did this. I thought you were banned. You were banned. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there is a process that you can go to.
If it's an illegitimate ban, yeah. But this guy says that he was cheating. I remember from watching the video. The tweet was over a week ago, so I remember watching it. But Firemage Kane in chat sums that perfectly. He says this was dumb on a lot of levels. I agree. it made him look stupid. It made him look like really soft. Like, okay, just make a video apologizing.
Part of the problem is that one person then made their video private after he was unbanned. And they were like, oh, now we're going to ban him again. And so it's like...
It was a stupid idea. It's a really stupid idea. I mean, concept great, stupid idea, stupid execution. I don't like it.
Yeah. And so we'll have to see what they do.
We're staying with this. He took so much...
I think if they get enough, as you said, negative feedback from this, that they won't do it again.
He already did. He took so much crap on Reddit for this. I mean, it's just the Reddit comments were just tearing him apart. And this was the first time that I'd actually... Reddit is brutal. Let's just be perfectly honest. The subreddit is very brutal towards everybody. And this is the first time I was reading through these comments, and I was like, I agree with you. Anonymous user that's just tearing Schmedley apart. I agree with what you're saying in this comment.
Yeah.
So it's just... the guy's famous. He's a cheater, and now he's famous.
Yeah. Well, I personally didn't really watch too much of the video, just because it doesn't interest me. I think they should just make it to where if they want to have some sort of, I don't know, it's not enough of a shaming. Like, it's kind of like an in your face. The guy's like, whatever, I'll do with this. But you got to look at the other side of the logic on it. What's the difference? You know, he could easily just turn around and get another account.
I mean, he could.
Now, if he's a streamer, it's hard for him to do that because he's then not able to stream it without probably getting instantly banned again. So that's his logic. But your normal player is never going to do this because they get to turn around and buy another account.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it was the time to do it, right? There's just so much flack going. Everybody from the company is getting so much flack right now, and this was probably not the best time to be doing this. And plus, the guy just kept talking about, spent over $200 on the game, spent over $200 on the game. I mean, that's obviously for him what it was all about. And Schmedley says in the tweet, wish it wasn't all about the money, but he still unbanned him anyway. So,
yeah,
you know, it is what it is. Really interesting news here, Brian. This is something that we weren't expecting, and it just kind of came out of nowhere, and it made it to the top of Reddit earlier this week, actually yesterday. H1Z1 has, or I guess Daybreak has awarded the community their first public whitelisted server. It's going to be called the Stronghold, and it's moderated by it's going to be moderated by a few of the Reddit mods. So FazeFire, Hanny, and Zion, I think is his name, from and Spore from H1Z1 DB. So a few of those Reddit mods are going to be moderating the server, and it's called the Stronghold. And this is the first public whitelisted server that H1Z1 has awarded. So they're really... We talked about this a while ago, Brian, the fact of users being able to rent servers from Daybreak. You know, X amount of dollars a month will rent you a server, but this is a community-awarded whitelisted server, so there's going to be some type of application.
From what I can tell, it's going to be somewhat of a role-playing, event-based server. So they're talking about having special server events to acquire supplies or gear, you know, like gathering blackberries, and you know, so it'll be interesting to see how they play this out. If it's not necessarily going to be a place that you play all the time, but there's events that you log into that server to do, it's not exactly clear, and I think they're still figuring it out of how they're going to do this.
Yeah, this may be more of a trial than anything else, just to see what they do.
And you got to think, these servers hold 200 people, so it's not like everybody is going to be able to go to the server.
Yeah, and there's an application process, and we don't know if they're going to let everybody in. We're not sure how this is going to work. This is a test, I guess. They're going to see how this works. But
the idea I like of being able to whitelist or blacklist players. I would more have it preferably be a community moderated, to where maybe the community would have the ability to kick people off the server, not leave it all up to Daybreak.
Yeah.
You know, let people come in, but make it so that there's an easier process to where, let's say, you know, like FazeFire sees that someone's hacking.
Yeah.
He has the ability to go and say, all right, this person can't be in. Right now, everybody has to be let in one at a time, which has its benefits.
It has, but it's also
it has to stay full.
And the other problem with this is, I mean, this is like a full-time job. There's going to be applications coming. How are they going to vet these users? It's going to be a big problem for anybody that's doing these whitelisted servers. How are you going to keep the players active on it? And how are
And
you
the
going?
problem is you get a lot of these people that come in and then they don't play. And so it's going to be a constant process of them having to bring in enough people to make it feel busy, yet not overpopulate the
Now,
server.
on Reddit, there was some cross-talk about, hey, why are you adding more servers to the game when you've already got like half of your servers always low pop? Which is another interesting point. I mean, at what point does H1Z1 say, let's just get rid of like freaking 15 of these servers? Like, nobody's playing on these servers. I can pull up the chart right now. It's just low. It's just it's a whole stack of low servers, and a lot of the low servers are all EU servers. There's just a huge block of EU servers that are consistently low.
A lot of the problem is if you look at some of these servers, 2 days of the patch, everything is full.
Here, I'm just while you're talking, go ahead.
Yeah, 2 days after a wipe, everything is full, and they are just barely able to fit everybody into these servers. You go out 2-3 days from then, 4 days out, then everything drops down. So it's kind of a tough mix for them to be able to keep enough players on here. Have enough servers to where 2 days after the wipe, people are still able to log in and play. Yet a week after, 2 weeks after the wipe, not having it to where they're like you're seeing now. I mean, we're what 3-4, we're within less than a week from the wipe. And how many servers are on low right now?
I'm just scrolling through really slow, but they're all low. I mean, it may not be the ideal time for people to be playing. Okay, great. They're medium servers that are at low when people at nighttime. I mean, somebody in chat is saying that they're 98 of the 100% servers are medium pop. That's not true. That's just not true. There 98 of the 100 servers are not medium pop. There are an extreme amount of low pop servers. Yeah. They just got to get rid of some of them. It's simple as that. Just cut back on like 5 or 10 servers.
Yeah, I looked earlier today, or I don't remember if it was last night, but there were 2 servers that were high pop, and that was our server Another Day and Abomination.
Yeah.
There was a whole handful of servers that were on medium, but then there were a whole handful that were on low. It's a really tough situation for them unless they can come up with some way to be able to allow more than 200 people on per server and then have some of these servers spin up to be able to handle more players on that server to where people feel like they're still logging in.
But the other
same
problem
server.
is, Brian, the map is so small right now that more than 200 concurrent players on a single map is too many.
You're going to fill it up.
Exactly. So, I mean, in the future, that's a great idea. Spinning up instances
as they start to expand the map.
But right now,
out,
I mean, could you imagine?
People on one
could
map.
you imagine 400 people being on a single H1Z1 server? It would be such a cluster. You would not be able to get away from users. It would be literally impossible.
Yeah, then that'll be once they start to expand the map, then I can see some real benefit in it.
Yeah, but right now I just don't see it.
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, I did see some negative feedback in the comments of people saying, well, you guys are going to go hide off in your own private server away from the hackers, and we're going to be left having to deal with them all. It's like that. There is also that negative feedback. People feel like, well, this isn't solving the problem of the hackers. This is letting certain people that are whitelisted, special people, go and hide in another server and not have to deal with them.
Yeah, and let's be clear. This is, from what we've read, this is a completely community, dealt with server. I don't believe Daybreak is going to have any control over who's letting in and who's out of this server. This is going to be the few of the Reddit mods and the guy from from H1Z1 DB controlling the whitelist. So this is, it's them. This is not a Daybreak's whitelisted server. This is a community whitelisted server. So we got to be clear with that.
Now, I don't know if you want to go into some of the June 2nd updates that we'll be looking at. There's only a couple of them. We kind of mentioned them a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we can go through these quick.
But they're talking about the 44 Magnum coming in game. We've seen the bullets. I mean, you could craft the bullets, but they're going to be adding a 44 Magnum. It'll be interesting to see. This is a revolver, so this will be the first revolver. It'll be interesting to see how this fires, what kind of power it has, the range. I would like to, who knows? I don't know. They've added a lot of handguns. I don't know how much different this is really going to feel power-wise compared maybe to the 9mm and the 45.
Yeah. Now the next thing, Brian, that they're adding on this June 2nd is they say radios, and then this is where I want to dissect this a little bit. In parentheses, they have CB and AM/FM. So
and walkie-talkies. So
that's like I mean the fact
so this
that they
is two-way communication.
But the fact that they put AM and FM, that radio tower,
I think they're just saying AM/FM.
You think that's just going to be the
it's
radio
more they're
tower.
just referring to it as that.
Okay.
Not that you're going to be able to tune through and listen to music.
But that's the thing I was thinking. Like, is there going to be like a higher frequency AM band?
But maybe what would be cool if in the end game, the long run, as far as kind of the immersion, having it to where you can kind of tune through and find different broadcasts.
I mean, we talk about realism, Brian, and you push this stuff, the whole realistic stuff all the time. AM travels farther than FM. That's how it works. 10,000 watts of AM travels extremely far. You can listen to an AM station halfway across the country at night. So maybe your FM station in-game is, a select area, right? Parts of Cranberry, parts of PV, similar around the dam and the mountain. But Rancho Taquito, you got to be broadcasting on AM, high power, to get frequencies up to Rancho Taquito and that northern part of the map. Possibly. I mean, we're just going into all this speculation stuff. This could be stuff that they would
radio,
want to
I don't remember which episode, whether it was like episode 3 or something, is when we came up with the idea of walkie-talkies.
Yeah, and how we would just broadcast our show over the radio and be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, to troll everybody.
Everybody. They have to listen to our show.
But I think that this is kind of that gameplay element. Let's say the walkie-talkies and the radio tower is able to be a repeater.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that, to where that you power the radio tower and then your walkie-talkies have the ability to communicate across the whole map. That'd be kind of a fun thing to do. Maybe the CB radio is within a certain distance. So if you and I are in maybe a truck,
well, the CBs are going to be
police
in cars. Yeah, exactly.
We're in a truck or police car on one side of Pleasant Valley versus the other, we'd be able to communicate with that CB radio.
Or maybe CB is something you craft and put in your base, and it looks like a workbench, right? That similar table, and it's just got a CB radio on it. So maybe it's something you put in bases with antennas and in cars and stuff like that.
Imagine if they made it to where there was that much detail to the base, as they start to expand the base building system to where, like, here's our radio room.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's our crafting room.
Yeah.
And make it to where, because that's the problem right now, is everything can be instantly destroyed so quickly. It's hard to really build up a base and have it be like, this is a long-term thing. And with the wipes happening and everything else. But I think if they can expand out the base building enough, you can get to the point where you get, you can get these rooms, these separate little things, all separated out and create something that you'd be proud of that's long-term.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to figure out the base building is still so new. They said a while ago that they were going to completely rewrite the base system. I don't think we're there yet.
I think it's going to be. I mean, they're adding some things to it, but I think it's still based on the current.
I remember,
system.
like, what was this? This is a while ago now. We're going back. That they said the current base system was just placed in there. There's going to be a complete redo of the base system. I'm not sure if they've rolled back on that or if they're going to continue doing that. But our current base system right now, I don't think is going to be the final base system.
Yeah.
As it sits right now.
Well, and that'll be interesting to see if that becomes a part of it. Having your little radio tower, all these different things.
Yeah.
But we'll
plus,
see.
I mean, even you could go into jammers, right? You could throw jammers outside of people's bases so they can't communicate outside of the base. There's a whole lot of things they could do if they play this right. A whole lot of things they could do.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how they roll that out. Now, Battle Royale leaderboards is something that will really get a lot of people into Battle Royale just because they feel like there's some sort of reward out of it beyond maybe a skin that they already have. But having it to where in-game and on the web, you can compete against other people. Maybe my clan, once they get clan system in there, my clan can compete against your clan for being on the top of the leaderboards in Battle Royales, or get those individual people competing against each other. But I think this is really going to be one of those things that drives Battle Royale, just like it drives games like CSGO. People trying to get those things that stand them apart from everyone else. Mm-hmm. This will be something that having those leaderboards is going to give some people a reason, because some people say there's not really anything that I get out of it. Some people will play it just for the fact that they could be at the top of the leaderboard possibly.
Yeah, and this is going to be in-game and web-based. So, like you said, you're going to be able to access this stuff on the website, but it's also going to be, imagine it's just going to be another option in the main screen when you go into it. It's got all that stuff on the left-hand side or whatever. That's just, imagine, going to be another thing that's going to be available there. And the last thing is, or you want to go? You want to go on the last thing?
Well, this is something that you had mentioned. I think you had mentioned it to me here earlier this week, that they're going to have to where you can carry items in your hands.
Yeah.
And then use items on others.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm thinking that this is going to be like a syringe. If you have a syringe with the H1Z1 virus,
exactly.
you would be able to inject someone with that syringe possibly.
You capture somebody, you're bringing them back to your base.
Bandage somebody else. You can maybe force feed somebody else.
You need to be able to force feed.
Opens up a lot of things.
You need to be able to force feed, because right now, the thing that they've set up, the way it works now, if you're handcuffed, somebody, they can take all your stuff. So you're not going to be able to eat. So the force feed is going to have to be a thing, or just your captives are going to die. Pepper spray, man, Stan in chat is saying, there you go. You can pepper spray your victims. They did talk about visual effects. I imagine at some point they'd be able to implement something like that.
Well, and this is the thing where you can have in your hand slot a bandage, and quickly, without having to open up your inventory and click, there might be a quick way for you to switch to it and bandage yourself on the fly, or maybe put a med kit in there.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure what items are going to be restricted to the hand slots or item carry slots, but we'll have to see what they do with that.
Yeah.
But like you said, there could be a lot of things. It may be just something that, Brian, like you said, that you just can only interact with other players with. It may not be something that you're allowed to, bandage yourself quick or throw a med kit on yourself. It may just be you interacting with other players.
Oh, and once again, they don't go into a lot of detail of how this works. Mm-hmm. But we'll have to see how they actually roll it out. I'm thinking, carrying something in hand, that's where I'm thinking there's a bandage that you can carry. You can apply to yourself, to others. I'm kind of hoping that that's how it works, because right now this system of being able to bandage yourself is pretty clunky, or being able to use med kits is pretty clunky.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait and see how they implement it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, though, because like you said, it's clunky. So how well is that? Is it? I don't know what they're going to add. It's going to be weird. Because if you can affect another player with it, why wouldn't you be able to use it on yourself? I mean, that's where, and what stuff is going to be allowed and what stuff, I don't know. I just don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's simple as that. It could be, it may be something that's really, there's not a whole lot you can do. Maybe you can only infect other players with it, or only force feed other players. This may not be right away, because again, this is first run through of the hand slot. May not be a whole lot of things that you can do right away with it. So we'll have to see. We'll have to wait, and we'll have to see what they do with it. But first pass, I can't imagine there's going to be a whole lot of flexibility with the slot. It's probably going to be pretty limited, locked down to a few items. I would assume.
Well, we'll see how they start to roll it out. But that's. And once again, this is June 2nd that they're talking about. I don't know that if they're actually going to move some of these things out to a later date. Very possible, because they're moving some things out from this next patch out already, the base building. Usually that causes other things to be pushed out even farther.
Yeah, it just, stuff slowly, it just kind of, it builds up over time, and that's where we're kind of at right now. And actually, hold on, Brian, we've got... I'm not going to play the breaking news sound effect again. I'll spare you.
Three times.
Yeah, Sebastian just tweeted out an image. I'm trying to pull this up on the fly here. This is what he's calling... he says this is what real life looks like to an environmental artist. And this appears...
It's a different view from what we had shown. If you look at... There's that...
That's the L train.
Sky.
That elevated train there. This is very, very detailed. There's manhole covers. There's a bus stop on the right-hand side. This is a very, very detailed city. And it says Atacho 3 on everything. Atacho 1. So the objects are labeled differently. Brick. Different stuff in there. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that is interesting. If you look at it, it looks pretty different. if you look at a lot of the things they're showing, oh, this texture is going to be here, this texture is going to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be interesting to see once they put in the textures. I'm hoping that that's when they start to roll out some of the new looks of buildings, because if they put the same textures on all these buildings, it's going to look a lot how it is right now.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them to start with that variation, take an opportunity now to put the variation in the buildings, start introducing some new textures that we'll start to see throughout the map.
Yeah. Well, that's a view of.
But it looks like a big city, though.
That's the thing we showed last week. That's got to be. We had the elevated train.
It's a different view of it,
but it's an on the ground view of that. Brian, what do you want to go into? We can do tips of the week. We can talk about our contest. Where do we want to go from here?
So I do have. Let's go ahead and go into tips of the week if you want to do my intro.
All right, Brian. What is before we start this? What is tips of the week for anybody that's new here?
So tip of the week is where I give different players an advanced tip and a beginner's tip, something that can help them in game, something maybe they don't already know about, that it will make it so that they can then learn something new, maybe a way to advance their game. It's not always regular. It could be a BR tip. It could be a regular game tip, but this is tips of the week. All right, so for our first beginner tip of the week, this is going to be one that I didn't know until later in the game, but when you're filling up water bottles, you have the ability to go to those water towers. Most people don't know that there is a little valve at the bottom of those water towers. So if you're in PV, maybe down south on the map, some of the different areas, they have these water towers. Go to those and either can drink directly out of the knob that's at the bottom of the water tower, or you can go to and fill up the individual water bottles there, drink directly or fill up the water bottles. And that is one way. It is still currently dirty water, which is kind of frustrating. So you will take some damage. So they did adjust the amount of damage that you take when drinking water from wells and from water towers. But it is one quick way to not have to go to a river and fill up a water bottle and take a drink. You have the ability to go and just directly drink out of the water tower. And then when you're done, you can fill up your water bottles.
Shouldn't the stuff out of the wells and the water tower be purified automatically? I mean, just
I figured it would be at least be stagnant. I don't know why it's not stagnant water, but for some reason they have made it so that it's I don't know. It's dirty water, which doesn't make any sense to me why a well is dirty water.
Or why a water tower would have dirty water coming out of it.
I mean, it may be stagnant, so that's one thing I think they do need to adjust. Yeah. I don't know why the same water comes out of that southwest area of the map that is all dirty, like it's contaminated water. Mm-hmm. And there's all these broken barrels of fluids and everything else. That's the same level of water is what you get out of a water tower, and that to me doesn't make any sense.
Stagnant, I definitely think, is the way to go with that for sure.
But and hopefully that's something they'll implement in the future. Yeah. Now, for an advanced tip, I don't think I've done this one before, but if you place a workbench under your building, let's say you have a deck foundation and you don't want to be able to place it. First of all, some people are using this because there was a bug where you couldn't place items inside of your rooms for a period of time. So if you place a workbench underneath of your deck foundation, under the room that you're wanting to be able to craft things in, it'll save space in that room, and then you can craft things from there. So that is one thing to be able to clear up the room if you don't want to be able to have to stick things in there. Just go ahead and place that crafting workbench underneath the room, and then it will still allow you to dismantle bullets and do these different things from inside of that room. So that is the advanced and beginner tips of the week.
Yeah, thanks for that, Brian. That's tips of the week. We do that each and every week, or Brian does that each and every week, and we've got our 2 tips there. Contest, Brian. This is something
that we've been doing. Yeah, we'll be doing every week.
Yes, we're trying to do. Yeah. So
if we could just have everybody, first of all, we'll go into how you can be included in this contest. If you would like to submit a video from in-game that includes audio of some sort that is either you playing or, if you're going to do BR or in regular game, it needs to be a video from you. But if you could submit those to contact@infectionpodcast.com, or you can go to our contact form on the website and go ahead and put things inside of, in there, a link to whatever the video is at, and you make it a private video, of course. But you can go ahead and link that to us, and we will include it in the contest. So we would go check out those videos. If you don't win that week, you are more than welcome to go ahead and, it'll go to the next week. You don't have to keep submitting it to us. But if you want to put in more videos, that'll be included. That'll up your chances to win. And then if you don't win that week, we will roll that forward.
Yeah, there you go. So,
this is going to be our winner this week is Nisco 3000, and he is a member of our clan.
Yep.
And so he will be getting a list from our games. So we have a list of all the games that are available. I think it's 70 about games that we will be giving out. So I will give him that list so he can pick one. And then, of course, our H1Z1 stickers that were donated to the show by Landgun. That'll be included. So we have one more of those after this, of the big ones, and then we'll have some smaller ones. And then, we'll go from week to week. As long as we continue getting submissions, we will do these contests. Do you want to go ahead and play the video that Nisco submitted?
Yeah, I don't know if there's sound on it or not. I think there's a little bit. So we'll just roll with that. Then here we go.
My game crashed.
Oh no, shit, we can wait to jump. Don't jump out. No, not yet.
What the hell?
What?
Just wait, Rip, wait.
We're like driving on the wires now. Like, what the fuck?
You better come back in here quick, Eric.
Dude,
Your
that's
car's
awesome. We're going
No,
to
the
the
he's gonna die anyway. It doesn't matter. You guys have to wait until you go to the hill.
Yeah.
Well, what if he comes back down? Or what if he's like closer to the ground? Will he still die?
I'm recording this.
Dude, that is fucking awesome.
Shit.
I think the best way to jump out on the next hill when it hits the tree. It's gonna hit the tree.
Are we gonna die if we jump down? Or?
No.
No, you're low to the ground.
When it hits the tree, jump out.
There we go. Now. Oh shit.
Yeah. Survive.
Oh.
What the fuck? Oh, it's still going on.
There we go. And for all of our audio listeners, a little hard, but car flying through
And we'll
the
have
air.
this in our show notes.
It will be in the shows. Car flying through the air. They eventually get to a hill that's like close enough for them to jump out, and they all jump out of the car.
The funny thing is the car just keeps going.
It never stops. So we've got a few questions in chat. Can I submit this video? Can I submit that video? Submit any video that you have taken. The key to this is a video that you have recorded, the video that you have uploaded, not somebody that not a video your friend uploaded. The video you submitted, something that happened to you in game. We're just trying to show cool moments from members in our community, and stuff like that. So if you've got any videos like that, feel free to go ahead and upload that stuff, and we'll be sure to throw it in.
Yeah,
there.
and I'll in the chat I'll put a link to all the games so people know what are some of the games they'll be able to choose from. But if you go there, you will see a list of I think it's 70-ish games that you can pick from.
Mm-hmm.
And that will allow you, right now there's 74 games in there. You can pick one of those games. So the winner of the contest gets, and I will give you a Steam gift code for that game. And we will mail you a sticker.
There we go. So that's our contest. We think we covered everything. We still don't know when that patch is going to be, Brian.
Yeah.
I just imagine it's going to get pushed back. The fact that
it might be tonight, late night. I don't know. Being that they're doing that maintenance tomorrow, I don't know if they're going to try to put in the maintenance or just do it at the same time.
Well, I think the daybreak maintenance is just for their login service and stuff. So you may be right. They may just try to do it at the same time so that the people I guess are already going to be in the office, right? People from daybreak, so they may just have an early morning for everybody. But the patches schedule is supposed to be. We'll cover this at the beginning of the show. We'll cover it again really quickly. The patch schedule is supposed to be Thursday, test server build, so stuff will go up to the test servers on Thursday, and then the following Tuesday, the stuff from the test servers are supposed to roll out live to the live servers. The holiday kind of screwed that up, I imagined. They should have just waited an extra week to implement it, because now they rolled up the new schedule and then they're not following it. Not a criticism, but it's just like hey, I could have should have waited an extra week and then had because right now they have yet to complete that patch schedule. This is the third week now, and it's
always off.
It's always off. But the game is an alpha, and they're trying to fix stuff. So, not criticizing, just making a point there. So
well, hopefully they get it figured
out. Exactly. This is not. Oh, screw you, Dave. I'm not playing your game anymore because you're not following the patch schedule. None of that. But yeah. So that's it. Still no clue when that's going to be, but imagine it's going to be either sometime later tonight or early tomorrow morning. I think that's about going to do it for us, Brian. Where can people find you on the internet and all that other stuff?
Yep. So if you want to get a hold of me, go ahead and go to biteoftech.com. Of course, that is with an I. Or if you want to go to google.com/plus Brian Aldridge, that'll take you right to my Google Plus page. You can contact me through there. Always encourage you to go to our website, infectionpodcast.com. Yeah, I almost said the wrong one. Infectionpodcast.com. On the upper right, you will see an option to join our Steam group. If you join our Steam group, you will see when some of us are playing. You can join us in game, and then you can go onto our TeamSpeak, and that'd be one way to introduce yourself to us and start playing with us in game. And then when you're ready to join the clan, you can go to our forum and apply for membership. So those are the 3 steps. But if you don't remember what all those are, just go to our website. On there, you can go to clan and then apply, and then it'll have each step of how you can join us in game, of how to name your character, which server to go to, everything.
Yeah, exactly. So we're playing on another day. If you want to download this show, it's available on iTunes. It's available on any Android podcast app. It's also on Stitcher Radio, Brian. It's on TuneIn. It's also on SoundCloud now too. So we're uploading almost everywhere. So if you pretty much any app you can use on a smartphone to listen to audio, we're going to try to be there. And if you've got a suggestion for an app that you use and we're not listed on there, send us an email. It's contact@infectionpodcast.com, and we'll do our best to get that added to whatever podcast directory or app that is. My name is Nick Craig. @GameCast Live is my Twitter handle. InfectionPodcast.com is the website. And we'll see you all next week for Infection. Have a good week.